Hi, I'm Matt Dietrich, and welcome to another edition of Only in Illinois, your weekly video recap from Reboot Illinois. Lawmakers spent most of 2013 arguing about how to address the pension crisis in which money owed to the 5 state pension systems was consuming ever greater chunks of the state budget. Now it's Chicago's turn. Unless the city gets pension law changed in Springfield, in just over 2 years it will spend 22% of its entire budget on pension obligations. Mayor Rahm Emanuel has warned repeatedly that state-mandated payments to its pension systems, if left unchanged, will lead to the doubling of property taxes and large-scale layoffs of teachers, police, and other public employees. This week, it looked like Emanuel was on the fast track to getting started on what he needs in the Capitol, as House Speaker Michael Madigan led the way for a Chicago pension reform bill covering the city's municipal workers' and laborers' pension funds. But even Speaker Madigan, who is arguably the most powerful politician in the state, can have his plans derailed. Emanuel briefed the media about his pension reform plan on Monday, and on Wednesday, Madigan presented it to the House Personnel and Pensions Committee, which approved it for a full House vote. The rush was intentional and intended to get the measure through the General Assembly quickly, before union opposition could mount. But lawmakers resisted the fast approach. Some were concerned that they would end up getting blamed for a series of property tax increases required in the bill. Some didn't like that the bill didn't cover police, fire, or teacher pensions. There also were concerns about the hurried nature of the process, which is a common tactic for Madigan when dealing with controversial legislation.
So effectively, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The property tax bill of the citizens of Chicago will be raised by $750 million one way or the other in this 5-year period. Am I missing something?
No, I think you're right on target, and you're consistent with how I began my remarks, where I explained this is yet another local system that acknowledges its problem and has come to the legislature and said, we think that we have a solution and please enact it into law. But our goal here is to stabilize the financing of these systems.
And even though the bill did not deal with teacher pensions, the Chicago Teachers Union went on record strongly opposing it.
And we remain staunchly opposed to the proposals that are being made in this bill. We have a few areas of opposition. The first is that the cuts are significantly deeper than the cuts that are proposed by Senate Bill 1, which is currently being litigated, and we believe that this bill is even more unconstitutional.
The inaction on Emanuel's bill this week will give opponents time to regroup and possibly organize the kind of large-scale protests that the hurried approach was intended to avoid. That won't make the vote any easier, but as with the pension reform bill for the state systems back in December, it still needs to happen so the city of Chicago can avoid the financial disaster that's sure to come if lawmakers put this off. Keep in mind, though, that we still don't know if the state or any potential Chicago pension reform bill ever will go into effect. Ultimately, the Illinois Supreme Court will decide whether these bills in whole or in part are allowed to become law. For Reboot Illinois, I'm Matt Dietrich, and that's Only in Illinois.